Let's go to someone else who's got a question for Minister Morneau. Who says that the government measures may not, in fact, be enough to save his bar. Christopher Hudspeth owns Pegasus on Church in Toronto's LGBTQ neighbourhood. He posted a letter about his situation on social media, and he did address it to several political leaders, including Ontario's Premier, the Mayor of Toronto, and indeed the Finance Minister. Here's a bit of what that letter says. He writes, "I sit here today shaking my head, not knowing where to turn next. Can someone help? Is there help for small business? Can Pegasus survive? Or do we, like several already on Church Street, just throw in the towel and give up the fight?" And Christopher Hudspeth joins us now from his bar in Toronto's Village. Good to see you, Christopher.
Thank you for having me tonight, Rosemary.
So what is the main concern there with your bar, Pegasus? Have you been able to tap into any small business loans or anything that has been put on the table? How are you doing?
Sure. We've tapped into the $40,000 loan that the federal government has extended. We also have applied for the wage subsidy, which is helping pay some of my employees. But currently, my landlord is unwilling to take the CECRA program, and so that leaves us, with the entire rent bill, which is extremely high in downtown Toronto.
Can you give me a sense of how big it is? Because I'm guessing that the 40 grand doesn't really come close to covering it.
We're talking tens of thousands, and to put it to give some perspective, it's 10 times what my house payment is.
Okay, yeah, that gives me a lot of perspective, particularly given houses in Toronto are expensive too. So you've got a little bit of help, but you're not making any money. I mean, what would help you right now, or how do you plan to survive if you do?
Well, I mean, our projections show that we can go a few months, but we're already seeing businesses on the street that are closing because they can't pay the rent. And if this area goes down, my business goes down. This area is built upon a destination, and it doesn't work otherwise.
And so you would walk away from your business? How would you do that?
I don't know. I mean, it's what keeps me awake at night. Not having help from the landlord or being able to tap into the CECRA program means that we're paying the entire bill for rent and having zero access to be able to use the space. We're mandated closed at this point, and we'll be open in the third wave probably.
Mm-hmm. So the Finance Minister is sitting here, and I can ask him a question for you. If you wanted to say something to him, what would it be, Christopher?
Well, if our landlords aren't willing to accept the CECRA program, will the federal government and the provinces give us access directly so that at least we can pay half the rent with the 50% that the government's already set aside for this?
Okay, Christopher, I'll try and get an answer for you. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. That's Christopher Hudspeth, the owner of a bar called Pegasus on Church, and that's in downtown Toronto. Thanks, Christopher. And let's go back to the Finance Minister, Bill Morneau, for a response to that. So this is, I have to say, something I have heard a lot about over the past number of weeks, the commercial rent program. Either landlords don't want to do it, or the conditions are just too hard for the people that are renting. It frankly doesn't seem to be working. Are you going to make adjustments to the program? And what would you say to Christopher?
Well, I have a lot to say to Christopher because I don't know if you know this, but he's actually in the area I represent. Yes. So it turns out that I've probably met Christopher before.
Yeah, we might have done that on purpose.
You never know. So let me start with the rent program. First, I just want to make sure that I go on the record to say to all the landlords out there, this is a program intended to protect landlords and to help tenants. And so for the landlords out there, we think that they should be moving forward to make use of this program. They're getting guarantee of 75%. Now, I will say that it is early days. All the details for this program have not even been fully announced. They're going to be announced in the coming days. I know how anxious Christopher must be because it is, I'm sure, gnawing at him every moment of every day. But we are going to see more and more businesses sign up for this. I've seen large numbers already. Now, what are we going to try and do? We're going to try and think about all of our programs, making sure they're working. Christopher's been able to take that small business loan, that $40,000 loan, 10 $1,000 of that's forgivable. He's been able to apply for the wage subsidy for his employees, which is a big cost. So we're trying to provide broad-based support for small businesses like his, and we will continue to look at this program. I have been advocating for the provinces to also step up. It's a provincial jurisdiction that we've stepped in because we're trying to find a way to solve for this.
Okay, but it sounds like Christopher's going to lose his business because his landlord's not interested in taking part in the program. There's really no incentive for the landlord to take part in the program, is there?
There's a huge incentive for the landlords.
So what would it be? Because they don't seem
to... What you saw in the newspaper this morning is numbers like landlords getting 15% of the payment last month. So what the landlord gets by taking this is they get 75% of the rent guaranteed. And what that means is that for the tenant, like Christopher, he pays 25%. The landlord is giving a 25% off, but 50% is coming through the federal government, shared with the provinces.
Yeah.
So there's a big incentive. I'm encouraging landlords to do this. I do think, Rosie, there's a lot of challenges, obviously, with every program we put it out, because we're trying to get them out quickly to solve for the biggest number of people. And as we look at them, we are making adjustments where adjustments can be made. A good example is that business account. 600,000 businesses have applied and gotten the money. But we're still looking at whether we can make more eligible.
I get that you think that's an incentive for landlords, but I would say that landlords could say to their tenants, sorry, go into debt, find a solution. We're not willing to play ball here. And that is largely what I'm hearing right now from people. So I guess other than you appealing to them to do it, I'm wondering what else you can do. I mean, Christopher's idea was not a terrible one. Why not just take the 50% that you're already handing over and just give it right to the people that are renting the properties?
I know people, I get a lot of great ideas every day, and that's one of the things we're trying to take in. That one's actually particularly difficult for us to execute on because we actually aren't responsible for the landlord-tenant situation in the provinces. So it's not actually a federal jurisdiction, whereas the mortgage system is a federal jurisdiction. So that's the reason we came up with this idea the way we did. What I can tell you more broadly is we're looking at every program. We're trying to find ways to get capital to people like Christopher, so loans that can bridge them through this time. I know it's going to be challenging in the business that he's in a bar, restaurant. I'm sure he's worried about when he's going to be able to open up. We're worried too. But I think that we've provided support in multiple ways that are going to help a very large number of businesses.
But you recognize that there are some cracks in programs, and this seems to be one of them.
There are absolutely challenges that we're trying to deal with every single day, and we don't have answers to every one of them the next day, but we're trying to fix them as we go along. And we won't be able to fix everything. We will not be able to get everything perfect, but again, 600,000 businesses have got that small business loan. We're seeing thousands upon thousands of landlords signing up for this rent approach. So we will keep working on it. We will think about ways that we can improve it, make it more accessible.